Good morning, everybody. It's a Wednesday. Welcome to Beyond Weather. I'm Chief Meteorologist Lee Solomon. We'll take a look at the maps this morning. We definitely have some low clouds. We talked about that marine layer coming in pretty strong last night. So let's take a look at the night imagery showing the low clouds around the central coast this morning. Yeah, pretty well socked in for most of us. There's not a lot of dense fog, but there probably are some patches. The marine layer is kind of interesting this morning. You'll notice a lot of it actually coming down from the north and inland, actually. So it's not a typical picture. Of course, we've had this area of low pressure over us a couple of days. That is now moving out. Today is definitely a transition day to both more sunshine and some warmer temperatures. And speaking of the warmer temperatures that are on the way, there's kind of two little bumps in temperatures. We'll start a couple of little bumps today and tomorrow into Friday, and then a bigger bump for the weekend. Here's what it looks like in the upper atmosphere. So here's one thing I do know for sure, that the upper levels of the atmosphere will certainly be warming up. And you can see that. Here we go into this afternoon, into Thursday, and into Friday. And then watch what happens over the weekend. This just continues to build, right? The hottest of the air will be off to our east a little bit, so it certainly won't be directly centered over us, but you can see that heat signature there on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. So Mother's Day to about early next week looks like the warmest temperatures. The question always is, this time of year though, in the spring, is the sea breeze. So you really have to massage, what we call massaging the model data, which means you can't just take the forecast coming out of the computer and go, that's it. That's what it's going to be, because when you're translating temperatures from the upper atmosphere down to the surface, it gets really tricky here around the Monterey Bay due to the, Mother Nature's air conditioning, as Jim Vanderswan used to say. So what are we expecting? The bottom line, it's going to warm up. Inland valleys will see the most warming over the next couple of days. The coastal areas, especially right along the coast, will stay either relatively cool or mild, but as you move just a little inland, you will certainly start to feel some of that warming. Here we go today. So instead of barely hitting 60 everywhere yesterday, we'll see more 60s and low 70s closer to the coast. The low 70s always for Santa Cruz. By the way, the average high temperature Santa Cruz right now for this early May, it's about 71 degrees. Contrast that with Monterey, which is at about 62 degrees for an average high. So you can see there's about a 10-degree spread on average between the peninsula and the Santa Cruz area along the coast. You go inland, places like Gilroy in the Santa Clara Valley, King City down in the Salinas Valley, their average highs this time of year mid-70s. So there's another jump right there. So that gives you some perspective on where we'll be the next couple of days. So today closer to average. Tomorrow probably maybe a few degrees above average for our inland valleys. The coast now seeing mid-60s on the peninsula with some low 70s over in Santa Cruz. By the time we get to Friday, we continue the warming inland and we do some slight warming here, but most of that again is in the valleys, not for our coastal areas because of the low clouds in the morning, and of course the heavy sea breeze in the afternoon, strong breeze. On Saturday, we continue to see some warming. You'll notice the Central Valley now seeing some low to mid 90s and possibly some 80s around here. For Sunday, for Mother's Day, it certainly looks hot inland, meaning from Sacramento down to Fresno, we could see middle and upper 90s. Will we get close to 100 in a few spots? It's possible. Certainly well inland in Central California. For the coastal areas, we're looking at probably between 65 and 70 in Monterey and probably some middle 70s to near 80 in Santa Cruz on Mother's Day. So yes, it will be warm. Valleys, mid 70s, could see some low to mid 90s from King City southward down to San Ardo, Parkfield, Bradley, the Pinnacles. Again, this will feel pretty warm considering where we've been most of April and the beginning of May, which was certainly running below average. On Monday of next week, this kind of heat, I don't want to call it a heat wave, but although for the Central Valley, it'll be a little bit of a heat wave with temperatures possibly around 100 next Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday. For us, it'll be some very warm weather in spots. We could see, again, some of the models like this one right here predicting the far southern reaches, interior parts of Monterey and San Benito County could see 100 next Monday. That is not my exact forecast now here on a Wednesday. We'll see how it plays out. But overall, of course, much warmer temperatures, more sunshine in the afternoon, a more typical spring pattern with the strong winds, of course, out of the northwest later in the day. And the warmer temperature. So that's your quick cast here this morning. I got more on your Mother's Day, your weekend forecast. We'll do more of the detail. We'll talk about heat risk for potential stuff outdoors and all of that as we get a little bit closer. Have a great day, everybody, and enjoy that afternoon sunshine.